Welcome to Unlocking Your Power with Francesca. This podcast is designed to help you build a bulletproof mindset and embrace the badass you are. I will be the external voice to remind you during those tough days and give you that kick in the butt that you need. Let's get it going. Hey everyone, welcome back to Unlocking Your Power with Francesca, aka your host. Now today we're going to talk about working with your inner critic and rebuilding that self-limiting belief system. And this is a little bit of a piggyback from the last episode, which was in between your ears, because we talked about mindset shifting. So this episode is going to talk about how we can hone into that belief system and start utilizing 3 steps that is going to help you to rebuild that belief system and also work with your inner critic. Now today, let's get into the inner critic a little bit and talk about that and the belief system. And I'm going to provide you an example, or basically my story, okay? Now, your inner critic is basically that voice in your head that's going to tell you some negative things, okay? These negative comments are going to hinder you and it's going to put you down. So it's called inner critic because you're criticizing yourself. Now, your belief system stems from the subconscious part of that brain. Because we talked about the conscious part. The conscious part is basically being aware and mindful. Now, the subconscious part is basically, like I said before, is the back burner. And the funny thing is that it operates 24/7, but it's not something that is aware, that we're aware of. For example, when we breathe and when we are basically blinking or our heart is pounding or palpitating, we don't think about that. Who has the ability to think about your blinking? How many times do you blink throughout the day? No, that's basically something that happens in your subconscious part of the brain because this is a repetitive thing. It works deeply with ourselves. Is a function that helps us to live. So that portion of your brain houses the belief system, because the belief system is stem or deep rooted within our core, within our personalized interpretation of what we experience at a young age. And even until now, we continuously interpretate the world. So that belief system, basically a positive belief system, is something that is within your conviction that you believe in, that strongly you know what's right, what's wrong. It can come down to your own personal religion. It can come down to your personal life, your influences, your society, whatever it is, okay? It can be positive. But the worst part about it is that we do have limiting self-belief system set, which is the complete opposite. So it's not fruitful or positive. It's going to tear you down and it's going to affect your life negatively. So all of this comes from our subconscious brain. That belief system is built on the belief from a young age of what we hear, what we saw, what we experience. Let me kind of tell you a little story about myself of the inner critic that I had to face and how I was able to kind of work through it by giving you these 3 steps that help me to rebuild that belief system. So for me, let me start this. I'm Puerto Rican, so I come from a very Hispanic family. And what I mean by that is that Hispanics have the tendency to be very blunt and raw with their comments. I mean, whoever experiences this, they can, they know. Those who are Hispanic, we all know that your grandma, your mom, your dad, they're going to say crap to you and very blunt without them thinking. And honestly, I don't think they're afraid to say it. They just say how it is. But regardless, on top of that, I was in a very unhealthy environment, and this unhealthy environment consisted of, negative talk, and I was always surrounded by negative thinking. And I think it comes down to like the poverty mindset where, it's unfortunately what I've been surrounded by was a negative environment and negative people and negative self-talk. So obviously it rubbed on me. Now, I was literally a very overweight child. It might not be something you see now because it's the complete opposite, but I was very overweight. So what happened was I was bullied in school, and then I got bullied at the house with my family. Okay. And a lot of this, the things that were said or done, still lives in my brain. Like, I still remember to the T what happened. So a lot of the things that were said in school and at my house, it really left a very deep emotional and mental scar. So it really hindered my confidence, my self-confidence. And people say, build your self-confidence, be confident in yourself. But at the age, I was getting the complete opposite. I was receiving things that solidified that who I was not enough. And that's how I was thinking. So I was bullied in school, and I needed to get pulled out of school when I was 11 because it got really bad. Like, it got to the point where I was sick to my stomach just wanting to go to school or staying home too. So I was kind of in the middle of a rut there. But, a lot of the comments were just things that kids say. Like, you're fat, you look funny, they start laughing, you're a piece of crap. And I got these from my teachers too. I swear to God, there was 2 teachers that were so rude, and I would not name them whatsoever. I would never speak their name, but they were so rude to me, and they actually were part of the whole party of making fun of Francesca because she's freaking fat. So on top of that, as I got older, my mother literally started telling me things that, you're ugly, you're not capable of this. A man will never love you. And as I got older and actually got into a relationship, one of my relationship was very scarring, emotionally and mentally. I remember this person literally told me that you will never live a life that you want. You will never reach success. You're a piece of crap. You're not capable of achieving your goal. So surrounded by these statements really hit me in a very young age, and growing up, it just led me into a self-destructive course of life for quite a few years. It had a huge toll on my confidence that I started telling myself I'm not worthy. I'm not capable of anything. And I was doing things and experiencing things, which I would highlight more as we progress, that really affected me, my life. And I basically caused my own damn karma. Because of all this criticism and judgment, I was looking outside of myself to find solutions, of finding a way to battle through these voices and try to gain my confidence. And I looked for it in the opposite direction of myself. So trying to get out of this personal experience and kind of reverting back to you guys, as a child or growing up in your teenage years, which is a critical step of foundation of your psyche and development, we're not built on a stable ground. If you have parents or, guidance or mentors that guide you, be freaking blessed. Okay. Tell them that you love them and appreciate them, and be blessed that you've had supportive people surrounding you to nurture you and be able to grow up to be who you are today, because there are people, or most people, that don't have that, including myself. I never received that. So, storing all of this information, all of these experiences, what's going to happen is that, it is also interacting with our 5 senses. So whatever experiences or the things that were said to you, you're going to remember, or you're going to take, your brain takes a snapshot of where you are, how you felt, how your body feels, what you smell, what you see. All of this is stored in your body, but also stored in a file in your brain in the subconscious part. So when something happens now, or an experience happens now, what it's going to do is going to trigger you. It's going to trigger a reaction. Okay? For example, let me tell you an example so it can kind of make sense. When I was in a state of lack of self-confidence, whenever a person compliments me of something, I would shake my head and say, no, that's not true. Nah, I appreciate it, but no, that's not right. It happens automatically. And you probably feel the same way. You dismiss the comments or this compliment because in your mind, you're telling yourself already it's not true. And if somebody's trying to highlight something, you're like, nope, you're already dismissing it. So that is how powerful our subconscious brain, that it happens so automatically, and it's scary because it's something that has to be worked through, and your subconscious brain has repetitively processed it to the point that it is what you think. So all of this is built on your belief system and influences your belief system. So what you believe, or what is it that you believe in yourself, stems from that inner critic, that what you tell yourself because of what other people tell you. So it all kind of go hand in hand. Now, since we talked about the SMS, like I mentioned before, which is situation, mindset shift, and solution, I'm going to now talk about this mindset shift and how we can change or rebuild this. So when it comes to your inner critic, I named it work with your inner critic, because we cannot silence it. It's always going to be part of us. We can't remove it. We can't freaking terminate it. Okay, it's going to be, the voice is still going to live in your damn head. So the best way we can do is actually work with your inner critic. Work with it. And this is not going to happen automatically. But remember I said in the last episode that your brain is flexible? It's called brain plasticity or neuroplasticity because it can change. You're not stuck with what you believe in. You're not stuck with who you are. You're not stuck. You can actually change it. Again, this is great news. So how can we start building this? So if you have a pen and paper, great. If not, just kind of notate in your mind. But there's 3 ways we can start shifting everything. The first is consciously being aware of that self-limiting belief system. So the first step is being aware. And how can you be aware is by literally taking the time out, and it doesn't have to be a lot, at least 5 or 10 minutes out of the day or out of the week. Okay, you can start small and start asking yourself, why am I thinking this way? Or where is this rooted from? Where is it originating from? Ask these questions, write them down, and start creating that dialogue, because the story that you've told yourself for a long time, if you want to start kind of isolating it and crystallizing it and changing the story, you're going to have to go back in time and look at where it's coming from. And this is some deep work, okay? It's not easy. And I'm going to tell you guys, just try your very best to at least do it 5 minutes, okay? Take out a notepad, a pen, or whatever. Write down, go in silence, and start writing down what you're hearing in your mind. It can be anything. There's no judgment. This is all you. This is your paper. This is your book. Write it down and start recognizing what your mind is telling you. Because now you're shifting your subconscious. Your subconscious is talking to you. And now you're going to consciously look at it in a different point of view and say, okay, I got you. This is what it is, and this is where it's coming from. Because if you don't start confronting it, it's going to keep toggling on you. It's like that prick, that little needle that's going to keep stabbing you, and it's annoying. It's going to keep getting stronger. That voice is going to keep getting stronger until you listen, or it's going to make you listen. So conscientiously say, okay, the reason why I am thinking this way is because it stemmed from a time when I was 5 years old or 8 years old where my mom or dad did this, and that is the reason why I feel this way. That is the first freaking step, okay? And you can do that once a week, a few times throughout the week, and just do it and try to do it because it's going to help you. That's your first step, okay? The second step is the moment you start creating this page of everything, you have it isolated. Now you know where it's originating from. So the second step is consciously replacing those inner critic voice with a supportive growth mindset voice. You're going to have to change that inner critic to a positive voice. You isolated the problem, you recognize it, now let's replace it. Let's start shifting that story and start creating a better dialogue that is actually true and it's more supportive to you and your life. Let's kind of do a little practice here. For example, when you think to yourself, I can't do this. I cannot. Start shifting it and says, I can do it. I actually trust myself enough to do it. Or another example, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I don't know enough, or I'm not knowledgeable. Revert it and say, I am intelligent. I am going to make mistakes, but I am going to learn from this because that's part of the process. Everyone is built by a process. So you're not stupid and you can do it. Or what about I'm fat, I'm ugly. It's very simple. I'm beautiful and I am taking the steps to continuously be healthier. Or somebody says, you're not capable of doing this. You can come back and say, well, I know that I'm aware that this is going to be challenging, but I am going to succeed at all cost. You see how quickly things start to shift the moment you say it out loud? And at first, it's going to be very uncomfortable, guys. You probably are just like squirming, like, ugh, like, why am I saying this to myself? It's uncomfortable because you don't believe it yet. You don't believe it at all, but you're going to believe in it eventually. If you really want to change your life and the outcome, you're going to have to be a lot more loving to yourself and talk to yourself in a more kinder viewpoint. The more you do this and the more you practice, the more you're going to see and believe it. Because remember, we talk about the subconscious brain. It's a repetitive action that becomes automatic. So don't you think that if a negative thing or negative circumstance or negative voice that have been repetitively synced within your subconscious brain can actually be reverted to a positive repetition in your brain, you can actually replace that. You can replace it with better memories, with better experience, by taking damn control and changing that fucking story. Changing that story. So you're going to have to take control of that subconscious, and that's what's going to happen. You're going to have to replace your inner critic with a more supportive voice. And I'm going to ask you guys to be very patient with yourself. Okay, be very patient because it's going to take time. It's going to take not a day or two. It's going to probably take weeks, months. It's going to be hard at first, but the more you do it, it's going to start making sense and you're going to start striding in a very positive outcome. Third step is start doing the opposite of your belief system and go towards what you fear. So in order to start changing your life, you're going to have to take action. necessary actions, not just writing it down, not just practice replacing your inner critic. You're going to have to now move. You're going to have to go towards what scares the crap out of you. And what I mean is start taking steps that might have scared you, that you probably didn't think, like, for example, going after a job or applying to a place that you probably feel like you won't get, but why would you prevent yourself from doing that? Apply. Same thing with investing in courses. You know, if you want to invest in something, you know, there's nothing better than investing in yourself. So even if things doesn't go well, at least you have a lot more knowledge and another better place foundation that's going to help you for the future. And it can be so many things in your imagination that scares you, probably making a move to a different state or a different city. Something very simple that you feel like you've outgrown where you are and you want to move out of your area. Obviously, there's a lot of strategic planning, but make it a goal. By being active in these things, it will help you start shifting that mindset into action. So do things that scare you, and do things and follow through, and it's going to start shifting from you can't to you can. Now you're shifting from I couldn't do this, I can't do this, to now you can, and what do I need to do to start making it happen? All right? So making a plan, you're already working on those goals. You're trying to bring it into fruition. You're going to shake your damn foundation. Trust me, it is scary. If it's scary, you're in the right direction, because when you're comfortable and you're staying still in one position, you're not fucking growing. So if you're uncomfortable and if you're shaking and if you're in unstable ground, you're in the right path, because things will start falling into place eventually. And, you know, it kind of made me remember what Einstein, I think he said, it was Albert Einstein stated, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. How the hell you're gonna receive a result from something you've been doing over and over again, which is already a thing that has been happening for some time, and it's going to be the same damn results. If you want different results, do something different. Plain and simple. If you don't like where you are, start doing something different. Take action. Don't talk about it. Do it. Do it. Your actions is what's going to change everything. So go from what ifs to I am and I can. So those 3 steps literally has helped me to basically overcome a lot of my fears. It helped me to be more stabilized of myself or who I am. Like I said, I've gone through a lot of self-discovery work and journey, but this has actually helped me to really isolate on how I can become a better person, a better woman, and better individual, and really honing into who I am, what I'm passionate about, what I'm capable of. And it really changed my mindset to really get out of the box and not be afraid and do things differently. And this has honestly opened up a lot of different opportunities with different people, and I'm able to connect and network. And this is something that I'm still practicing every day. So I'm not a master of it. Everybody are not masters. It's something that we have to practice every day. We're mastering it. So hopefully this has helped you to kind of shift your mindset into a more positive, practical process where, you know, you can start consciously writing things down, practice replacement, and also start doing it. So these are the 3 steps that have helped me, and hopefully it will help you. And if you have not done it, start doing it. Just take a few minutes out of your day. But before I wrap this up, And thank you for listening, y'all. I appreciate your patience as well. I want to highlight where you can find me in social media. On Instagram and TikTok, you can find me at Checka_rebuilt. I do have a website. It's www.francescaroldan.com. If you have any questions or like to suggest any topics, you can email me at unlockingyourpower@gmail.com. Now, before I wrap up, thank you for listening. And if you guys like this episode and want some more, please subscribe, as I would have new episodes each week on Tuesday. And honestly, guys, don't forget to leave a review and rate the show. I am able to give some shout outs on the podcast and gain some insight. And I would always love to help you. So love you guys. See you again next week. And remember, you're a freaking badass. Chin up, heads up, loves. See ya. Thank you for tuning in to the Unlocking Your Power with Francesca podcast. Please make sure you are subscribed so that you never miss an episode. And if you feel this message was great, please go ahead and share it with your friends and family so they can get a dose of inspiration. Don't forget to leave a review and rate the show. Love ya. Bye.